And Florida Senator Marco Rubio sits on the Foreign Relations Committee. He joins us now. There's been a lot that's happened over the last several days, and I think people are very curious about your views on what Biden should or should not do at this point.
Well, I recall all the way back to October, November last year, I said this was going to happen. I said unless we made it very clear to Iran that they would be held directly responsible for the attacks of these groups are going to attack, the attacks would spread, they would become lethal, eventually it would lose Americans, and 2 months later that's what's happened. So for Iran, this is very easy, right? They have these groups that they supply weapons to, they supply targeting information. These groups don't have satellites, these groups don't have targeting information. They know where to hit, they have guided munitions, all of that logistical support comes from the Iranians. And for them it's easy. They have another group do the work, and they get all the credit and none of the blame. In essence, they can hide behind it. Why are they doing it? Well, two reasons. Obviously, they want to inflict pain on America because of our support for Israel. But the other underlying thing is they want us to leave the region. They don't want 2,000 American troops fighting ISIS in Syria and Iraq. They don't want that. They don't want us to have an outpost in Jordan. They want to drive us from the region, and they think the more Americans they can threaten and kill, the likelier it is that we will leave. So we have to reestablish deterrence, which is very difficult to do because Iran doesn't care how many members of these groups die. You have to ultimately understand that deterrence has to be something Iran cares about losing, something Iran is worried about. And it's a very delicate balance, and it's very difficult to reestablish deterrence if you never had it or once you have lost it, especially if there's no belief that the president will do anything about it. So I wouldn't talk about tactics. I don't think it's appropriate to telegraph that. But we're going to have to reestablish deterrence, or we're going to see more strikes against Americans throughout the region and in other parts of the world, potentially.
Yeah, Senator, just so our viewers know what Iran does in terms of funding. Hezbollah, $700 million a year. You've got Hamas and other Palestinian groups, $100 million. You've got the proxies throughout Syria and Iraq on top of that. There's a suggestion today, Wall Street Journal and others, that it's difficult for Iran to get its proxy groups to refrain from taking action, whether that's the Houthis in Yemen or all over that sphere of the Middle East. Reports suggest that they will stand down. Do you have any reason today to believe that, and there's some sort of back channel happening there?
Well, I think one of the proxy groups announced that they were going to stand down because there's these ongoing negotiations about the U.S. leaving Iraq. But that's not the group that attacked us in Jordan. As far as that they don't have a problem, it's not easy for them to deter these groups don't exist without them. They don't just provide the weapons, they don't just provide the training, they provide the logistical and targeting support. Again, these attacks, these bases are not big places there, and the reason why they know where they are and they have the coordinates and the targeting information, it's being supplied by the IRGC. It's all being coordinated by Iran. Someone else may be pushing the trigger, but it's their weapons, their money, their targeting information, and their directive. So these groups are responsive to Iran, and they created them, and they are the ones that are holding their hand every step of the way.
What about the American hostages that we believe are still being held in Israel? I mean, the Qatari Prime Minister, he's out doing a lot of interviews. There's not a lot of answers on that, and you don't really hear too much talked about them anymore.
Well, part of it is if you're trying to get people freed, you don't, obviously you want attention being paid. You don't want people to forget that there are hostages, but you also don't want to be out there, doing this in public for a variety of different reasons. But I will say that that's why these hostage situations, that's why people take hostages, because they know that we value life. Hamas doesn't care how many of their fighters die. They're willing to sacrifice. To them, it's a martyr's death, and it's glorious. They know we care about life. And I think that's a fundamental thing to understand here. When your enemy does not value human life, including their own, and they believe it's glorious to die in the name of their cause, you have a very difficult enemy to confront here. We do value human life. We want every one of those hostages released, and every day they're in captivity, and every day they're abused is a reminder of the evil that we are confronting, not just us in Israel, but the broader world with groups like these all around the world.
Ridiculous, so that they're still holding women and children. And if people are injured or wounded and need medical help, that they can be refrained from being released too. It really defies logic for, perhaps what governments in that region are allowing Hamas to do at this moment. Sir, thank you for your time. We've got a ton to get to. Thank you, Marco Rubio.
Thank you. Good to have you.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.